Well, this morning I have one huge worry. It's been overhanging my analysis of the abundant future. I'll explain that worry later today. I mean, it's a sincere thing, and nobody, not one person, is talking about this. And I might be totally wrong, but I'd love to get your impact, what you think about what I've got to say. We also have the PCE report, finally, the September PCE report. We'll get into that in just a minute. The markets this morning are reacting to the PCE report. And so far, the reaction has been muted, including Tesla up a little bit, but it's been up more and down more, and it's been all around break even this morning. The Dow's up quite strongly. And we've got but the bonds didn't move at all. They didn't care. Anyway, we'll get into all of that in a minute. Tesla has finally released their Model Y standard in Europe. And now, based on all the reporting that I've seen on this Model Y standard, it's a solid vehicle. It might be no, it wouldn't be the one I would have bought in my youth. It might have been the one I would buy now if I was spending any time on the freeways. It takes away some of the niceties, but I'm not sure that I care about the niceties that it took away. The surprise to me is that it's taken this long to come out. Are the guys in Berlin just slow? Were there issues with regard to not having enough production for existing business? Seems to me that everybody's talking about how Europe is so slow over there, and it would seem like if you're slow, you'd get this product up really, really quickly because you wouldn't have anything else to do. You could get it. Well, but that hasn't been the case. It's been the slowest one of all. So anyway, we'll see what kind of an impact the Model Y standard has on the European sales. Sawyer Barrett bought himself a Model Y Performance. And he just added his name. He did a nice video and the whole nine yards. And he added his name to the list of people that are shouting the praises of this version of the vehicle. In fact, I'm beginning to lose count of how many articles have been written about how good this car is. One of them praising it as maybe the best car ever made. But this is even from the old guys, from the the media, the old media that are praising this Model Y Performance. This is Randy Kirk. And if you haven't liked this channel in the past, or if you have liked it in the past, but you're forgetting now, and then there's also this matter. We have had an increase in the number of people that have been subscribing. I appreciate that, but keep it up. Come on, let's get more subscribers. I mean, literally, seriously, we were getting 700, 800 a month, and it dropped down to 123. Anyway, please subscribe if you haven't already subscribed. And then later on, we'll talk to you about these. I got a nice order yesterday for a bunch of these. And we'll talk for a minute. We'll talk about the book. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe we will. Maybe we won't. Personal income. Are you ready for this? This is not the one that anybody's talking about, but this is a crazy number. Personal income increased 94.5 billion. That is 0.4% at a monthly rate in September, according to estimates released by the U.S. Bureau of Economic Analysis. Disposable personal income, less personal current taxes, increased 75 billion by 0.3%, and personal consumption expenditures increased also by 0.3%. So that's a very, very solid month. Personal outlays, the sum of PCE, personal interest payments, plus personal current transfer payments also increased, and personal savings went up also by 4.7% to 4.7 as a percentage of disposable income to 4.7%. That's not high by any recent numbers, but it's not bad. It's in the range of what you might expect. Now, the key inflation CNBC reported on the key inflation measure, the PCE came out with this morning, and it gave a further green light to the Federal Reserve to lower interest rates, according to the article. The core personal consumption expenditures price index, which excludes volatile food and energy prices, indicated a 0.2% monthly rise, while the annual rate was 2.8. The monthly rate was in line with the Dow Jones consensus, but the annual level was 0.1% lower. So this is really, really good. In addition, headline PCE increased 0.3 for the month, putting the annual inflation rate also at 2.8. And both of these readings were in line with expectations. So we have September numbers. Maybe that's why the markets are not reacting very much this morning. We have September numbers in line with expectations. So once again, people are saying, well, that just gives the Fed a little more ammo. It isn't bad. It isn't worse. It isn't accelerating or going up. Not going down much, but maybe a tiny bit. And I looked all over the internet to find anybody that was giving me more information than what I just gave you, and I couldn't find anybody. There was just no articles at all. Consumer sentiment lifted 2.3 index points in early December. This month's increase was concentrated primarily among younger consumers. Overall, the views of current conditions were little changed. Expectations improved, led by a 13% rise in expected personal finances being better, with the improvements visible across age, income, education, and political affiliation. Now, this is the Consumer Sentiment Index from the University of Michigan. This is the one that's usually so dour. Still, December's reading on expected personal finances is nearly 12% below the beginning of the year. But remember, at the beginning of the year, there was all this excitement about the new Trump administration. Similarly, labor market expectations improved, but remained relatively dismal. Consumers see modest improvements from November on a few dimensions, but the overall tenor of views is broadly somber as consumers continue to cite the burden of high prices. Looking to the future, year-ahead inflation expectations decreased from 4.5 last month to 4.1% this month, the lowest reading since January. This marks 4 consecutive months of declines, but short-run inflation expectations are still above the 3.3% seen in January, which is just crazy because they're under, they're really 2.5. Long-run inflation expectations softened from 3.4 to 3.2. That matched the January 2025 reading. In comparison, to 2024 readings ranged between 2.8 and 3.2. So all those things are positive. All right, now, here it is. I have a major, shocking statistic to share with you today. Here, are you ready? All humans on Earth, every one of them is limited to about 16 waking hours per day. And I don't think AI is going to change that. Yeah, okay. So what do you mean? What does this have to do with the price of beer? All right. Therefore, the worlds of travel, entertainment, video games, and other online distractions all have a limit to their ability to capture your time and attention. 16 hours, that's it. So if most of the world has to spend about 8 hours a day in work, and there's various kinds of work, whether that's work at home or work at the business, going to some place where you do business, which may add some time to your day. Some people work more than 8 hours. But if you take away the 8 hours that people have to go to work, now you're down to 8 hours of time to be distracted. And really, part of that time is in personal grooming and eating, and maybe you're like me and you do look at the news while you're eating. But I think there's a limit somewhere around 8 to 16 hours a day. Even if we get to this amazing abundance where nobody has to work at all, you'd still only have 16 hours a day to be entertained in these various different ways. It could be anything from, playing video games to travel to foreign lands. Well, okay, what does that all mean? Why do I care? Well, that same 16 hours sets limits on how we pay for all those hours of education, entertainment, and help with our daily lives. Subscriptions and advertising are the 2 ways we pay, right? I mean, my wife came in the other day. She says, we got $139 a month in subscriptions. And that's not so terribly surprising during football season. Anyway, our 16-hour day has a limit to the value to advertisers and each and every one of the business enterprise. In other words, I'm paying subscriptions, companies are paying subscriptions, you're paying subscriptions, and then we're being advertised to. So the company, that's not much of the day that you're at work. Even if you're online all day, are you being advertised to? Maybe a little bit, but not very much. But maybe you're paying a lot of subscriptions for Salesforce or some of these other things. But there's a limit. You work 8 hours a day. That's the most you're going to spend. How much money are you going to spend on subscriptions? Every company is going to need, you know, a basic bookkeeping program. If they have any inventory, they got an inventory program, a financial reporting program. You got maybe sales analysis where it's telling you who you need to make the next phone call to. But that's it. There's not going to be some new use. Okay. Yeah, AI creates new ways of thinking about things, and maybe that's going to save you some time. I talk about a lot in the book about brainstorming and how, your brainstorming sessions might be AI, improved, but you're not going to get more than 8 hours a day, and you're not going to get more things that the company has to do. And you yourself are not going to have more than 8 hours a day to be entertained. So I get the other side of it. I can argue 100% that there's a vast underclass that will be entering these markets, and there will be increased demand for digital and physical goods and services as people become more wealthy. And that might take a decade or two to actually satisfy. And in the middle class, we'll have those that are going to be moving up to the lower upper class or whatever, and they're going to want more toys or toys that they couldn't afford earlier, or go on more trips, or whatever that is. It's already been happening in my lifetime. The cruise ships are jammed. They got the cruise ships. There's so many more of them, and they're much bigger than they were before. And everybody and their third cousin goes on cruises now. You go over, you travel. It used to be just the Germans and the Californians. That's all you saw on a trip. Maybe a few Vancouverites. I mean, serious. That was really who traveled. And now it's the entire world is traveling wherever you go. So all that's going to increase even more. So while I'm pretty sure that the AI business has many, many years ahead of it without any kind of 1999 style bubble, there are limits on the things that humans need and even want. And right now, I don't think anybody is contemplating those limits at all. I don't think it's in anybody's game plan. Have you seen articles about this? What do you think about what I just said? You think my fears are crazy? I'd love to see that in the comments. Anyway, before I get to the numbers, one last thing. Elon liked this meme posted on X today, and I 100% agree with this meme. It says, "The word retard is not meant for people with handicaps. It's meant for non-handicapped people who are stupid. If you don't understand this, you are a retard." I think that's pretty funny. Trump's numbers stuck at 45% this morning, even though the folks are feeling much better about things, as we just reported. Maybe his numbers will go up tomorrow when those new inflation numbers hit, but we'll see. Truflation. The U.S. inflation index says it's 2.45, not 2.8, but that's not too far off. Goods inflation, they say, is down to 2.21. Core inflation is down to 2.26. Services are still up there, but coming down 2.7, and PCE at 2.13. If the PCE had come out this morning at 2.13, I think we would have seen a huge market reaction. All right. Well, where are we now in terms of that market reaction? Let's go back and take another look. So Tesla has gone back up this morning, pretty much getting close to the high of the day, 456.20. I mean, we're so close to the all-time high. That's up $1.72, or also known as 0.31%. The Dow Jones up 0.43, the Nasdaq up 0.73, and the S&P up 0.54. S&P getting very close to all-time high, 68.94, the all-time high around 69.50. So only 50 points to go to get there. And all these indices are going up more. They're all heading up. The Magnificent Seven are all up except for NVIDIA, but NVIDIA's only down 0.07%. And the VIX is down this morning quite sharply, down under 16% now at 1569. All right, then we got the Cathie Woods, which are mixed, mostly green, but a few are down this morning. All right, so now we move to the bonds. Now, you would think that the bonds would be down this morning, but they're not. They're up. If you get a number from the PCE that's better than expected, what do you expect the 10-year to do? You expect the yields to go down, but they're up 1.2 basis points. We're now sitting at 4.12. Remember, my high is 4.15. We're not going to go over 4.15. I'm promising you. Well, I think I'm promising you. What in the world is going on with these 10-year bonds? I just don't understand it. I really am getting to the point where I'm going, I don't get it. Now, what happens in your mind when you say, I don't get something? Something is just out of step with reality. Oh, that means you're probably getting to a high. All right, or to a change too. You've maxed out in one direction or the other. Oil right now up 68 cents. We've gone back over $60 to 60.35. The oil industry will be happy with that. Natural gas up 6.64% this morning, $5.39. In fact, call it $5.40. And we have a triple, I think they're calling it a triple vortex coming in the United States. I'm guessing that is what is causing natural gas prices to hit some highs this morning. Gold up $34 to 4,277. That would normally be evidence that the dollar is going down. Silver up 3.21%. Articles this morning again about silver, about copper, 3.25%. That's quite the leap after leading. It's like the number one thing you could have bought at the beginning of the year and made the most money on, $59.39. Copper up 1.51% to $5.45. That's definitely the highest it's been. And then we've got the dollar is down a little bit against everything. And Bitcoin down 967, back down to 91,324. Ethereum, however, like yesterday, continuing up 31.44. And those would be the numbers. This is Friday, so we'll have Larry Goldberg for sure, and then it might be Brian Wang, and it might be Cern Basher. Whichever one of those is not tonight will probably be first thing tomorrow morning. And then we've got Phil Beisel finally coming back from his vacation, visiting his kids. He'll be back, and that could be tomorrow morning. Brian Wang has been super, super busy, which is good. Everybody needs to be busy. So hopefully, those will be the three next videos starting tonight and tomorrow. Otherwise, normal for the weekend. And then last night, you would have the Cern Basher show, which was one of the better ones that we've ever done. I would highly recommend you go back and check out what Cern and I talked about. I'll put the card up there. All the information about buying the book and buying the Cybertruck bottle openers is all down below in the information. All you got to do is click down there and you can find. For those of you who are out of the country, the information is down there also. Some of you have wanted the audio book. You're not in the country and there's not in the US. And so there's issues with the way Amazon treated me this time. And it's just weird. It's a long story, not worth going into. So go check out down below. You just send me $15 the same way that you would send money for, you want 10 of these, right? It's $500. I mean, no, I'm sorry, that's not true. $200. 10, you get 10 of these for 200 and you could hand them out as Christmas gifts to everybody and they would be tickled. They would be tickled. I mean, there's hardly anything you could buy right now that would tickle people more. Now you can buy the book and it would advantage them more. So you have to decide in your various family members, friends, etc., that you want to give a gift to. Do you want to advantage them for the future? Then buy the book. Do you want to tickle them and have them go, oh, God, that's great, I love it? Then you buy the Cybertruck Bottle Opener. It's an easy decision. You just have to decide which one you want to do, and only to those you love. It's been great talking to you.